What's going on, everybody? We are back with episode 5 of this playthrough, walkthrough, whatever through we want to call it. Back at the Hawkins mansion, Marie Colden there. I gotta go talk to Mrs. Sanders and let her know that her husband has said bye to the world. I'm not sure that's gonna let me actually explain that was the Shambler or what, but there's one way to find out. Let's go. Pierce, Colden, and Bradley decided to team up to solve the Sarah Hawkins case. They have a new trail to follow. Francis Sanders, an art collector and friend of the painter, who died right in front of Pierce. The detective goes to his house in order to speak to his widow about the Shambler that the unfortunate man mentioned before he died. Oh, right to her house. Cool.
What can I do for you, sir?
Mrs. Sanders, I'm a private detective. We must talk about your husband and his ties to Sarah Hawkins. Can I come in?
You may. However, before we go any further, please know that my husband died yesterday.
That is precisely what brings me here.
Well, well, look who's here. You know each other.
Our paths crossed, briefly. The brave detective has a talent for sticking his nose into my business.
I bump into her every time I'm investigating someone's death.
It's a small island, detective. My island. It's better that it's you bumping into me.
You're investigating Francis' death. Why? Who hired you?
I spoke to Francis before he died. His story suggests a link to a case I'm working on.
Well, since this business has got nothing to do with me, I'll be in your husband's office, Irene. We'll carry on later.
Very well, Miss Baker. This way, Mr. Pierce. And do make yourself comfortable. It would seem that you have much to tell me. May I inquire as to when you had the opportunity to talk to my husband?
Yesterday, I met him at the hospital. He spoke to me about Sarah Hawkins.
Oh, of course he spoke to you about her. That's all he talked about. Sarah Hawkins and her paintings. Please forgive my tone. The fact is that I have not been allowed to see him since he was interned. You, on the other hand, a perfect stranger, were able to see him and even talk with him the day he died. How was he? Were you present when he had this attack? What happened?
Oh, man. Oh, shit. Okay,
What happened to your husband is terrible, Mrs. Sanders. But from what I saw, it was inevitable. The man I met yesterday had lost his reason. He suffers no longer, if you would allow me such a platitude.
Of course. Thank you for your kind words. Nobody in that hospital would have deigned to speak them to me. However, it will require more than that to soothe my mind. I need to understand. How could this happen? In a reputed institute? And right before your eyes? Did you not do anything to help him?
Oh, crap. Okay,
It's terrible what happened to your husband, but I had nothing to do with it. I was injured, and I came across him in the hospital quite by chance.
Injured? Well, I'm delighted to see you in such fine fettle, Detective. Not everybody enjoyed such a prompt recovery.
I suppose Fuller does do miracles now and again.
Luck is obviously very kind to you. Oh, I'm tired, Mr. Pierce. I would be grateful if you could tell me what you expect of me, and then leave.
I deduce that your husband already mentioned this dimensional shambler.
Well, you can imagine that's all he talked about. It's exhibited at the center of the gallery. No better place for the painting that endowed him with the privilege of such a shameful and miserable end to his life.
Hold on. The shambler is a painting by Sarah Hawkins.
Who else to paint such horrors? Take a look for yourself, if you feel so inclined.
It is my only lead at this stage. I suppose I have nothing to lose.
Then you have paid no heed. For my part, I refuse to set foot in that gallery again. But if you're so eager to see it...
Thank you, Mrs. Sanders. I won't be long.
I don't know why Cat's here. Talk to me. Talk to me. Why's Cat here? Oh, okay, cool.
The day the shambler came into the Sanders' lives.
Well, Sarah looks pissed.
A house of artists. A house of artists. Frances Sanders and Sarah Hawkins were close. Friends, even? Sanders' accession register. He wrote beside the shambler, "Finally." What did Sarah Hawkins fear so much that she didn't want to sell the painting? He finally won. Was Sanders aware of his imminent doom? She first refused to sell the painting. How did that make her feel? She despises Sarah Hawkins, but it's the painting she truly hates. Why?
Ah!
The Shambler. I need to see it.
Bravery of Medicine, Tome 2. The second volume in this series covers everything from gas gangrene to trench nephritis. In addition to a precise and detailed study, the book presents some avant-garde theories. The incredible complexity of this book reserves it for medical experts.
Let's see what this cylinder has to say once it's inserted in a phonograph.
An audio recording that Francis Sanders left for his wife Irene.
Irene, I made a mistake. I fear that it might be too late for me. Nobody should enter, except to burn everything. I never had the courage. Pay somebody to do it. He's inside my head. I see him behind my eyelids each time I shut my eyes. can't take any more. I can't hold him back. Forgive me.
That accursed gallery. Those accursed paintings. That accursed Sarah.
Still on the side. Francis Sanders Cylinder. Francis Sanders Cylinder.
I could use one of those.
St. Bill Sanders' house. Prescriber Francis Sanders.
A strange Amerindian pendant.
An ancient amulet, probably Amerindian. I wonder what it's supposed to be.
An old diary.
This volume spends some time on Reverend Wickwood's community. His wife expresses her worries about the strange dreams that the Reverend's congregation are having since their arrival on the island. Some members of the community, her husband included, began to speak of their vision as a messenger sent by God. She is scared that they will suffer the same fate as the lost children.
Strange. For months, Sarah Hawkins refused to part with her painting, to finally give it away for nothing.
Dear Francis, I beg you to give up all hope of ever owning this accursed painting. If our friendship has any meaning for you, please spare me the weight of guilt. I cannot be the architect of your fall. I beg you, my dear friend, forget the Shambler. Your friend, Sarah Hawkins. He did not forget. Dissertation on an anatomical question. It is the work of a student in book form. Although the observations are relevant, they lack the expertise of an experienced physician. However, the questions asked allow us to imagine new ways of exploring human anatomy. That's cool. Malus Pisterium, Volume 2. It is a kind of encyclopedia of monstrous and unknown creatures. I'm beginning to believe that they actually exist.
That's twice you've stepped on my toes, Detective. Try not to make a habit of it.
I've got a lot of bad habits.
Some can be more fatal than others. What have you come looking for in this gallery?
I have a well-off client in Boston who heard about the death of Francis Sanders and wanted me to size up his estate before making an offer to his widow.
Perfect, Detective. The pretext? The body language? I would have bought it if it was the first time I'd seen your face. You're a good talker, Pierce. Your story will do for the moment.
And you? What brings you to the Sanders home?
I'm here on business. Irene asked me to liquidate all these paintings. She doesn't intend to hang around here for long.
Why you?
Believe it or not, there aren't many collectors on Darkwater. It needs someone with a network and a means of transport to the mainland. A choice that comes down to Fitzroy and me. And I'm far more pleasant, wouldn't you say?
Let's go. Gallery.
These artifacts date from pre-Columbian times. The man transformed an entire wing of his manor into an art gallery. Why was he so interested in old weapons?
Why is that a hiding thing? Okay. Shambler.
What the hell was that?
Oh, this is scary. What am I supposed to be doing? Okay, examine the Shambler. Okay, I did that. Now what do I do? More CP available. One more book and medicine will go to 3.
I can't even touch it. Oh, God.
Bye. Woo. The Shambler is a painting. Irene Sanders doesn't seem to know what she hates the most, Sarah Hawkins or her work. The fact remains that she accuses her of costing her husband's sanity. He apparently gouged his own eyes out under the influence of the painting. I must see it. The key to the gallery is probably in the office. Sanders and Sarah Hawkins were close. It's undeniable. The widow didn't tell me everything, but her house speaks for itself. Her house speaks for herself. For her. Shit, I can't talk. Everything began with Francis Sanders' obsession with the Shambler, an exceptional painting in more ways than one.
What the hell was that? The thing came out of this painting. There has to be a link. Maybe if I destroy it.
Alright, I'm gonna die. Okay, how do we destroy the painting? Oh, weapons. Maybe.
What the hell was that? That thing came out of this painting. There has to be a link. Maybe if I destroy it. What the hell was that? Damn. Maybe I can use this dagger. Damn it! This dagger didn't work. What the hell was that? Damn. Maybe I can use this dagger. Damn it! This dagger didn't work. Damn it! I have to use a specific dagger.
Jeez, guys. Oh. my heart. I am so confused. Also doesn't help, it's like 1,000 degrees here, so I am burning up. Do it again. Do it again. Do it again. Do it again.
What the hell was that?
I try both of those. I try both of those. I tried that one just now.
This dagger looks different.
Charge! Faster, faster, faster. Let's see the guy both.
What's the matter with you? You sure you won't be needing that hand? You're losing it, Detective. At this rate, you're right. The bottle will get you before I do.
You didn't see anything.
I saw you within an inch of putting a dagger through your forearm. Did I miss something more interesting?
Sanders was right. This painting is cursed.
What are you talking about?
I was attacked by a creature. I pushed it back, I think.
I think so too.
You knew. You knew about the beast.
What are you talking about? Think yourself lucky that I saved your hand, even if it was to save my goods.
You mean me?
Don't flatter yourself, sweetheart. I'm talking about the contents of this gallery. And by the way, where do you think you're going with that dagger?
It saved my life. It's an extraordinary dagger.
You should talk to Algernon Drake. He's an antique dealer here on Darkwater. He'll tell you all about it. From what I saw in the ledgers, it was him who sold it to Sanders.
It's not your style to give me free information like that.
Take it as payment for being my canary. A simple trade-off. Now go see your antique seller. I've still got things to settle with Irene.
Whew, okay. Chapter 7, The Nameless Bookstore. The Shambler turned out to be much more than an artwork painted by Sarah Hawkins, as a huge creature came out of the painting to attack Pierce. After a hard fight, the detective managed to send it back into the painting after like 9 daggers, however many that was. He later discovered that the dagger he used to repel the creature had been sold to Sanders by a man named Algernon Drake, owner of the Nameless Bookstore. Pierce decides to pay the library a visit. With blood on the window. Cool. You saved. Alright.
Where is the bookseller?
Give me 1 second. Alright, so. Bloody Bookstore. We have 4 available character points. I feel like I already did that. Oh, that's right, I did that and then I died a lot. Okay. Alright. Getting a treehouse made. I'm gonna use sanity marks. Shaking, 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 shaking. Shaking. Oh, overall sanity shaking. Cool. Whew. Clues. Chapter 6 was the ladder and the painting. Weirdness. Just ladders. Whalebone. Shoes, clog, everything from the investigation. Okay. Alright. Let's start looking.
An old diary.
Oh, Diary of Pastor Wife, Volume 4. The pastor declared himself to be the prophet. He renounced God and worshipped a strange pagan entity with a monstrous appearance. His wife tried to reason with her husband, but in vain. He was convinced that he must listen to the voice in his head because it holds the truth. Okay?
Freud's The Interpretation of Dreams. It's the work that laid the foundations of psychoanalysis at the beginning of this century.
This practical work, written by Sigmund Freud, a first psychologist, describes the techniques of analytical interpretation of dreams. The analysis must follow several rules, especially that of free association, a principle announced by Freud at the end of the 19th century. It treats dreams as a way of revealing buried desires. I cannot believe that this theory is applicable to my neighbors. Hey, minutes go to 3 now. It did indeed. Room at a time. Puritan colony led by Reverend John Wickwood settled on the island during the 17th century. They named the island Darkwater because of the dark shades of the sea. They believe it was because of the peculiar color of the rocks surrounding the island. They erected the first building, among which were the Hawkins Manor, the church, and the cemetery. The rare documents and handwritten notes they left spoke of nightmares and deviant behaviors that disappeared at the beginning of the 18th century. Lost Tribe. River Medicine, Volume 3. Even a few years back, it was possible for a single practitioner to know all the medical knowledge of his time. This book, which concludes the series, shows that this is now virtually impossible. About 10 renowned doctors took part in putting together this collection.
The Book of Zion is the foundational work behind Helena Blavatsky's Theosophical movement. Its followers place truth on the same footing as a religion.
These Tibetan writings are at the origin of the esoteric movement founded by Helena Blavatsky at the end of the 19th century. The creator of Theosophy would have drawn extensive on the text of this work, but no one has ever been able to consult them. Oh, excuse me. I thought they didn't exist. This book, discovered in the nameless bookstore on Darkwater, could be as much a fake as irrefutable proof of Blavatsky's sincerity. Either or. Handbook on Anatomy and Dissection, Book 2. Precise and illustrated with as much detail as the first volume. This book focuses on healing surgery specific to malformations and motor disorders. Yes,
what does this strange book contain? This book contains unholy knowledge.
Malaya's Bestiarium. Ooh, this is the first one. Cool. This collection catalogs and classifies creatures that I had never heard of. Divinities from the stars, creatures capable of traveling from one dimension to another. It presents itself as a reference work on the bestiary of the myth without giving details on the mythology to which it refers. Its pages are covered with phantasmagorical illustrations. Phantasmagorical. Learned a new word if I even said it wrong. Oh man. Okay, so 8 pages. There we go. Bookshelves all clean. Okay. This room. Give me chest. Darkwater History, Henry Campbell, Volume 4. In the 19th century, as the American whaling industry reached its peak in the rest of the world, whales gradually disappeared from the water surrounding Darkwater. This phenomenon appears even more mysterious because up till then the region was a favored refuge for cetaceans. In 1847, after months of pursuit, Scylla returns to port with a gigantic creature on board. His crew asserts that the sea monster had eaten all the disappeared whales. After a night of ferocious combat, the survivors managed to drag the beast onto the ship. Just found all kinds of books in the bookstore. How uncanny. Thank you for filling me in.
What happened here?
Okay. Let's go on into recon mode.
Let's start over. Where did they break in from? Blood. Seems like amateur work.
Rookies.
Someone tall left this footprint. A man, probably. This burglar seems to be rather clumsy. What sort of thief leaves his tools at the crime scene? What killed all these animals? What happened that made the burglar flee before finishing his work? What the... Charles Hawkins? Looks like the symbol rejected Hawkins. What sort of power did Sarah Hawkins' painting possess? Sarah Hawkins helped hide something in this safe. Drake put in a great deal of effort to hide whatever is in here. Everything is linked to the Sarah Hawkins case. Drake left instructions on how to find the combination of his safe.
Okay, a page seems to be hidden here. It is possible to read. If somebody finds these memoirs, there will be no doubt that I am in serious trouble. My last and only hope is that my body and bones are still in this plane of reality, in order that they be recovered and burned. The funeral urn must be given to my dear mother, if she is still of this world. Following message is of capital importance. Whoever reads these lines and demonstrates acuity as sharp as mine can hope to gain access to my most precious possession. It lies within my safe, and the clues to the combination are to be found in 3 cylinders, each hidden where life and study combine in the Greek word. Okay, where life and study. Each cylinder is numbered, even if, as the celebrated author says, order is the pleasure of reason, but disorder is the delight of the imagination. Indeed, despite my preferences for organized chaos, I must admit that the reason unusually prevails in the end. If by chance a person, or should I say a genius, was to match my intellect... Oh, 1 second. I can talk right now. Okay. Sorry. If by chance a person, or should I say a genius, was to match my intellect and find the combination of the safe, I would ask that they deliver its content into the safekeeping of my friend and colleague, Professor Armitage of Miskatonic University. The content of this safe is not only a vast digest of knowledge, but also a weapon that is far too dangerous for it to fall into the wrong hands. I hope that you will be able to appreciate the danger that this represents, and that you will act accordingly. In any event, I will neither be there to guide you nor to suffer from your actions. Whew.
Is everyone on this island taking sleeping pills?
Apparently.
What link did he find between Charles Hawkins and an old amulet?
Sold for $2,000. Goodness gracious. This key that bears the older sign is the only one able to protect your psyche. It is in the form of a cylindrical medallion hanging at the end of a heavy chain. Hundreds of years ago, the star and the branch whose purpose is to push back the forces of the great old ones, the GOs, the GOs, were engraved in the center. Everything points to it being Charles Hawkins's that tore it from its last owner, an Egyptian antique dealer. In press cutting that mention the misdemeanor, the date of the robbery coincides with the last of Hawkins's trips to Cairo. It remains to be seen whether he knows of the true purpose of the artifact. Try and find it. Handbook on Anatomy and Dissection, Book 1. The least that can be said about this book is that its title is well conceived. The illustrations of human anatomy and dissection methods presented are illustrated in great detail. You have to have a strong heart or the detachment proper to doctors to consult its pages.
A strange amulet. I have a feeling I'd better not touch it.
A strange amulet. The pendant is in the shape of a large dog. I don't know what it represents. I might find out more by searching the bookstore. Oh, man.
Arkham editions. Never heard of him.
Written by Hermes the Trismegistus? Sure, I butchered that word. Translated and edited by Nathaniel M. Coppelius. This collection of texts on different beliefs was written by a legendary philosopher. It includes a translation of the Emerald's Tablet, a popular text among the 16th century alchemists. This volume is part of the Arkham Anthology, a luxurious collection of treatises and works on esotericism and the supernatural. Yummy.
How many volumes are there in this collection?
It's Blavatsky again. A book of esoteric philosophy and a key text of Madame Blavatsky's Theosophical Movement, written by Helena Petrovna Blavatsky. This volume is part of the Arkham Anthology, a luxurious collection of treatises and works on esotericism and the supernatural. The whole anthology.
Another volume by Arkham Editions.
Key of Solomon, a book of spells supposedly written by the legendary King Solomon. It contains various rituals of invocation, rituals of curse. Re-edition by Claudia M. Waits, based on L.W. de Lawrence's original. This volume is part of the Arkham Anthology. I'm not reading all that again. Okay, so.
Arkham Editions. Never heard of him.
Collection of poems by Edward Pickman Derby, also known as the Nightmare Lyrics. This collection of poems was sensationally received when first published in the 1908. Derby was only 18 years old.
How many volumes are there in this collection? Another volume by Arkham Editions.
Opera in 8 acts of Benvenuto Scitti Rodigliera, butchered that one. An infamous lyrical work published in Italy in 1768. It is said that the opera was performed only once, resulting in an audience riot that left several dead and missing.
Arkham Editions.
Prophecies.
Never heard of him.
A collection of long-term astrological predictions written in verse, written by Nostradamus, translated by E. Leone Theophilus Whitebridge.
How many volumes are there in this collection?
An ancient Frisian manuscript translated by William R. Sandbach. The text claims that in the distant past, Europe and other continents were controlled by the mothers of the people, and moreover, that our alphabet is derived from the Frisian language.
Another volume by Arkham Editions.
A collection of essays on American folklore and urban legends, written by Albert Wilmarth, professor of Miskatonic University. Already read that one.
Arkham Editions. Never heard of him.
Already read that one. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I feel like I missed someone.
Cylinders that Drake tried to hide. I should perhaps listen to them.
Very well, Drake. Where's your phone, Grandpa? Cylinder 1. Okay, cylinder 1.
And these red drops, like precious stones, lie fixed, set in divine gold. To be the guardian of the Grail does not protect me from its attractions, Henry. And I do confess it. I am willing to pay to know its secrets. I finally understood that we were only pieces on the chessboard of the gods. Let those of us who are still standing protect our White Queen from their dark soldiers. I see our number dwindling. and my will strengthens as my apprehension grows. We shall refuse to be the playthings of destiny.
Chess moves are mine. Let's check this out.
The Queen has little protection. The Queen has little protection.
Okay, let's do that.
Dear friend, I thank you again for the anthology of the works of Arkham editions that you sent me. Volume 9, Azathoth and Other Horrors, seemed particularly relevant to my research. I never tire of browsing through them.
Okay.
What did Drake say about this collection? Drake talked about a particular volume.
Collection of poems by Edward Pickman Derby, also known 18. 18's the number. So 18's number 3.
The Queen has little protection.
Maybe 3.
And these red drops, like precious stones, lie fixed, set in divine gold. To be the guardian of the Grail does not protect me from its attractions, Henry. And I do confess it. I am willing to pay to know its secrets.
The Chalice of Knowledge.
This goblet seems to be very ancient and seems to be made of gold and decorated with real precious stones. Do the rubies and sapphires make up a specific motif? So just looking at rubies and sapphires, not worried about emeralds. Does it turn around? Alright, 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Either 15 or 5. Let's see if we can play with this. Maybe 9. This is 6. Just told you which one you at least had right.
And these red drops, like precious stones, lie fixed, set in divine gold. To be the guardian of the Grail does not protect me from its attractions, Henry. And I do confess it. I am willing to pay to know its secrets. I finally understood that we were only pieces on the chessboard of the gods. Let those of us who are still standing protect our White Queen from their dark soldiers. I see our number dwindling, and my will strengthens as my apprehension grows. We shall refuse to be the playthings of destiny. dear friend. I thank you again for the anthology of the works of Arkham editions that you sent me. Volume 9, Azathoth and Other Horrors, seemed particularly relevant to my research. I never tire of browsing through them.
Okay, so first one's the cup, second one's the chessboard, third one's the Confront the book. The third one is 9.
The Queen has little protection.
So, like, does that mean she has 3 things left? She's surrounded by 6. We'll try 6 and 3. Oh. This one here.
The Chalice of Knowledge.
There's 5 sets. So 2 sapphires per set makes 10. That's too high of a number. Either 5 sets or 5 rupees. Either way, 5 maybe? Stick with my 5. What was this? Thank you. So first one, 5. Second one, 9. Third one, 6. Oh. 3 units of support. Oh, there's. It's a 9. Well, I'm back in the Institute. In the nameless bookstore, Pierce traced the trail of an attempted burglary. He discovered that Charles Hawkins was behind the attempt. Pierce opened the bookseller's safe to find what the ladder and Sarah Hawkins had hidden there. A book covered in human skin lied within, irresistibly attracted the detective. When he opened it, his mind was projected into another body. Oh, I'm in another person. Okay.
Dr. Colden, this man's condition is deteriorating.
What says Dr. Fuller? It's his patient, after all.
He's busy with Captain Fitzroy. He specifically asked us not to bother him when that's the case.
Oh, of course. I'll see what I can do. Mr. Blake, can you hear me? I'm Dr. Colden. We'll take care of you.
There's nothing we can do. I tried talking to him. He's catatonic.
Did you inject him with a tranquilizer?
No, Doctor. Not me, not anyone. Our stock is empty, yet again.
Again? But there was enough for the whole island.
More and more people are suffering from insomnia. We can't refuse to help.
Of course.
Any idea what this man might be undergoing?
What can you tell me about him?
He was highly agitated an hour ago. We were about to tie him down when he fell asleep. 10 minutes ago, he curled up into a fetal position. I thought he was waking up, but no.
I don't recognize him. Did he just arrive on the island?
He said he worked on the docks, but not with Captain Fitzroy. I think he works for Ms. Baker.
Who?
You know, the woman at the head of their gang. They call her Cat.
Oh, I see.
Do you have other questions?
What are his symptoms?
His temperature has been going down. his skin losing its color, his body rigid. I closed his eyes myself. They were glassing over. I didn't want them to dry out, and I couldn't bear to look at the expression on his face.
You did well. Don't worry. Let's stay professional, if you will. Show me his file.
That's not possible.
Don't tell me Dr. Fuller has taken this file as well. We need it.
That's why I called you. This man's ailment has been hidden from us.
Come on now. What was he treated for?
An intoxication, I was told, after inhaling chemicals.
That'll do for the time being.
Any idea what this man might be undergoing?
Very well. I'll examine him. 30-year-old subject. Severe hypothermia. Erythematous papules around the eyes and eardrums. Necrosed palpebral tissue. Lord, this smell.
I'm so glad they have a voice actor making these words, because I would not be able to pronounce half of those. Let's go again.
Severe malnutrition. Swollen abdomen with traces of petechia. Doesn't seem like an edema. Slight protuberances seem to indicate the presence of a foreign body.
Yeah, like that's why I'm not a doctor, because I'd be like, the thingamajig right there and the whatchamacallits. This terminology is quite easy.
His skin shows abnormal loss of color and seems dried out. He's totally dehydrated. His fingertips and toes seem to feature a slight ring under the skin. Tender at the touch. Slightly sticky.
So, Doctor, an opinion?
I'm not sure I have the necessary knowledge to treat this man.
Don't say that. You're our most worthy doctor after Dr. Fuller.
Some of his symptoms are beyond my comprehension.
What did you find?
Did you examine his abdomen? It would seem there's something inside.
He hasn't eaten in days. Are you certain it's not an edema?
No. Can't you recognize an edema? Pushing with your finger won't leave a trace. And look at these bumps.
It's not like he could be pregnant.
Whatever it is, this man has something inside him that shouldn't be there. We should operate on him at once.
Dr. Fuller said not to worry, that the edema would go away by itself.
You know, I'm not sure Dr. Fuller is telling the truth. In spite of the muscle contractions, his arms seem limp.
Yes. They can't have decalcified, not at this rate.
And yet, if there is a bone in this arm, it's softer than that of a newborn baby. What about his cranium?
It's soft at the touch. It does seem like the skull of a baby.
Look at these sticky rings growing at his fingertips. What can be happening?
I'm sure you'll find an explanation. You have to.
I see signs of hypodermoclysis, but he's still dehydrated. When was his last IV?
He's constantly under perfusion. I've even gone beyond the recommended dose to no avail. And you won't believe me, but when we bathed him earlier...
He seemed to feel better?
Yes. Like he needs an aquarium, not a perfusion. But that doesn't explain his condition.
Oh man, this guy's turning into Cthulhu, or Cthulhu acolyte.
I almost don't believe it myself, but these symptoms are not those usually associated with the human species.
What do you mean? Don't tell me you believe in extraterrestrials.
No. This poor man is from our world, all right. But his body is undergoing unnatural mutations, and this transformation is killing him. His body simply can't cope.
Where could he have gotten such an infection?
I pray that it's not here.
Dr. Colden, may I know what you're doing to my patient?
What I'm doing? How about what you've done to him?
Let us calm down, my dear Marie. I don't appreciate your tone, nor your insinuations. I've done to him what I do to all my patients, provide him with the best available care.
Your imagination is without limit. It's your homemade drug again, is it not? Those people are not your guinea pigs.
There, there. What have you seen to put you in such a state?
These are alarming symptoms. If we don't act, he'll die.
Do you believe that? I'm not as convinced, you see. I even think this man has a strong chance of completely healing from his ailments.
No, Doctor. This patient isn't himself anymore. He's dying.
Really? What do you mean by isn't himself?
He's changing. His physical characteristics, they are more animal than human now.
Fascinating. An animal, you say? Could you be more precise? Cephalopod, perhaps?
This amuses you.
Your reaction does. I know your thirst for knowledge, Doctor. It's your innocent worries for this man that have you overreacting.
For this man, and the others whose medical files you've been hiding.
I have to protect my discovery. These people owe me their life, but the world isn't ready yet. It will be, in time.
I will not let you do this.
You disappoint me, Marie, but I still have hope you'll one day share my point of view. In the meantime, take care of your own patients and try not to forget who you're dealing with.
That's a younger. When I was on the asylum.
Was that a threat?
Gray.
What did he mean?
It was a warning. Dr. Fuller is this institution's founder and one of our profession's most influential voices. My word is of no weight against his. If I continue to protest, I will only ruin my reputation and career.
It's scandalous. Can't we do anything? Is there no evidence of his crimes?
I disapprove of Fuller's methods, but his treatments have saved more lives than I can count.
And Mr. Blake? You said yourself he was dying.
I don't know what to think for now. What I'm sure of is that Fuller is hiding something from us, and I need to know what that is before I take a chance exposing him.
And where would you find those? In his office? What if you get caught?
I'd rather not think about that. I'm counting on your discretion.
Of course, Doctor. You can count on me. I'll keep Mum.
So in that little chat there, she said Dr. Fuller was the founder. But we all know in the previous episode, or earlier in this episode, we learned that the Dr. Fuller that entrapped me was the son of the founder. It was his dad that was the founder. So if this is his dad, then how old is Marie Colden? How old's this chick?
Chronic insomnia.
Colden?
Like half the island. Hay fever. What's he doing here?
But with that, we're going to wrap up episode 5. Episode 6, we'll dive in to learn more about this and see if Colden is a time traveler that we just don't know of. But yeah, hope you all enjoyed episode 5, and we'll see what kind of jump scares we got going on for us in episode 6. Catch y'all later.